Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. In a blow to tourism and competitors, Targa Tasmania has been cancelled 5 months before it was due to run. Organisers citing delays implementing safety recommendations in the wake of 4 fatalities during the past 2 races.
Since its first running in 1992, the infamous Targa Tasmania has been a motorsport highlight.
I would say it would be the leading race of its type in the world.
But after 3 competitors died in 2 separate crashes in 2021, followed by a 4th fatality last year, the 2023 race was cancelled. Scheduled to return next April, that too is now abandoned, with safety recommendations still being implemented and a coronial inquiry looming.
We're confronted with things we've never been confronted with, and people need to understand that. And it's just taking more time than we ever thought to get us back to running, and we must get everything right before we come back.
It's a blow for drivers, albeit not entirely unexpected.
Obviously disappointing, Nick, but understanding. You know, there's a lot of things that have got to be sorted out before we can get the event up and running again.
Teams were already well into preparations for the 2024 race.
It takes quite a while to prepare for this race. You've got to get a team together, you've got to get your car right, you've got to book accommodation, you've got to book travel. So it's understandable that Mark's made this decision now because we just can't let it get too much closer.
The cancellation means a hit to the state's tourism industry. The impact from these events is estimated to be worth between $8 and $10 million a year.
Personally, I'm shattered for the industry. You know, we use literally hundreds of hotels to house thousands of people. They're eating every night, they're travelling on the Spirit of Tasmania. There's a whole range of economic flow and impacts.
But we're told it will be back.
It's world class. It's the biggest, longest, toughest tarmac rally in the world. This event's not going away.
Nick Kelly, 7 Tasmania News.
Frustrated MPs have voiced their anger at the government, claiming crucial questions about the Commission of Inquiry response have been stonewalled. One department secretary was in the firing line after claiming she was unaware which state servants were under the microscope.
After 2 days of hearings designed to answer questions, some are feeling a little flat.
They are in fact adding trauma onto the trauma already experienced by victim survivors and their families. It is appalling that they are not being open and transparent.
Yesterday, Justice Secretary Gina Webster said she'd forwarded State Service Head Jenny Gale a list with 20 people confirmed to have received misconduct notices. That was despite Gale saying a day earlier,
I'm not aware of who received Section 18 notices as such.
Ms Gale has spoken on the committee in a truthful and upfront manner.
Ms Gale said in a statement she never received a final list of the 22 who received a misconduct notice.
It's offensive that we would see semantics being used instead of clear answers being provided.
She is responsible for leading that cultural change, and yet she has shown that she is more than capable of calculated deception, tricky language, covering up the truth.
The Premier faced fury in question time.
How do you plan to rebuild trust when for the past 2.5 months you've been stonewalling any attempts to get answers about these individuals?
A commitment made in response.
That we will leave no stone unturned. We are going to leave no stone unturned. We are leaving no stone unturned, Mr. Speaker.
Don't go looking under rocks, no longer an acceptable practice. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
There's a new potential hurdle for Hobart's Waterfront Stadium. The goods shed, which occupies part of Macquarie Point, was given a provisional heritage listing at last night's Tasmanian Heritage Council meeting. There will be a 3-week public consultation period on the shed's listing. The Premier says he remains committed to his stadium plans. Clarence Council will vote on Monday on a formal push to host the High Performance Centre for a Tasmanian AFL team.
Overwhelmingly, the community has indicated that they want a high performance centre in the city of Clarence, and that is what I am keen to see personally delivered on Monday night.
Councillors will also vote on a revised Skylands proposal. Initial plans for thousands of homes at Drury Point were knocked back in March. And Hobart's housing market could be in for a volatile 2024, according to the latest PropTrack Market Outlook report. It's forecasting the city could see anything between a 2% fall or 1% increase in average prices. Potential sellers warned shrinking affordability, declining demand and growing stock are hitting the market after years of growth. The report also reveals property prices are down by nearly 2% in November compared to the same time last year. Tasmanians can expect to see a greater police presence around our shopping precincts with Christmas fast approaching. High visibility foot patrols will be on the lookout for antisocial behaviour, including shoplifting and drug offences. Anonymous submissions to Crime Stoppers will also help in their fight for community safety.
If you know that there's a group of youths coming into the city of Hobart or Launceston or Devonport or Burnie, you know they're coming in at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon, Tasmania Police can take that information and deploy their resources appropriately.
In addition to uniformed police officers, we will have plainclothes officers, detectives and also police dogs supporting these patrols.
Members of the public are warned not to interfere with shoplifters for their own safety. Tasmanians have joined a national protest against climate inaction. Activists taking to Hobart streets, demanding the federal government stop approving and subsidising new fossil fuel projects.
People know how important it is. They're really worried about the fire season ahead and how climate change exacerbates all those kind of natural disasters.
Meanwhile, protesters in the north were creative in their fight, parading a giant puppet shaped like an oil rig to highlight the issue in Launceston. The owner of a general store in the state's north is vowing to rebuild after fire tore through her Nunamara shop. It's the latest blow for Kerry Sinclair, who kept the doors open on her much-loved business through road closures, COVID, floods and the death of her husband just last month.
Nunamara's general store has been a major part of Kerry Sinclair's world for 22 years and the centre of small-town life for decades.
Oh, well, it was just our local port, of call, really.
COVID, followed by road closures at the Sideling, almost sent the business to the wall. Kerry managed to keep the door open until now. Fire tearing through the building around lunchtime yesterday.
It started in the roof, apparently, electrical, and then she was just gutted.
Heartbreakingly, the damage includes cabinets built by Kerry's husband, Doug.
I lost my husband 4 weeks ago. Now I've lost my business. Excuse me. But I've got the community.
You take care, all right?
That community turning out today to offer support, a hand to hold and a much-needed coffee.
It's overwhelming. I didn't realise that I actually had a lot of people around.
While nobody was hurt in the blaze, the fire has left Nunamara without a post office.
Now that is a real drama, because now to get my mail we've got to go into St Leonard's. That's a long haul to pick up a letter.
Amazingly, staff were able to rescue all parcels and letters as the building burned. For now, Kerry is looking to the days ahead.
And at the moment, the future is we're going to rebuild and we'll make it bigger and better.
Locals left in no doubt.
Kerry will come back, she'll bounce back, she bounces back all the time. She's like one of those rubber bulls.
Annie Green, 7 Tasmanian News.
The festive season just got a whole lot merrier with the Christmas table staple returning to local supermarkets. Cherries are guaranteed to sell fast, with demand coming from around the world.
Red, ripe and ready for purchase, Tasmanian cherries have hit the shelves.
Our deep flavours in our cherries this year are so much better because we've had a lot more sunlight and the tree's able to work and actually pull the sugar through into the fruit. So a lot sweeter cherries.
Farmers spoiled with 50% more produce compared to last year's colder season, making for an extra festive and extra busy time of year.
We'll have something like 250 pickers in the orchard. We'll inject just on $1.8 to $2 million into the community in that 6 to 8 week period.
This year we will grow over 5,000 tonnes of cherry. It's about a quarter of the Australian crop.
But with high volume comes high demand.
Last year we had a customer actually ring up for about 30 boxes to send to Victoria as gifts to his staff. I don't think we're going to have many tomorrow.
All over Asia, people will be looking forward to getting our Tasmanian cherries.
Those international exports a long time coming for local farmers like Nick, who last night won the inaugural Tasmanian Industry Biosecurity Award.
For the incredible work that he has done across biosecurity in Tasmania, but particularly the work that he did around fruit flies.
It's taken 5 to 6 years for China to accept those areas that were fruit fly from 6 years ago to become free now. That only happened last month.
The cherry on top of a sweet holiday season. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanians are being urged to put the brakes on their shopping frustrations this Christmas. RACT figures show December typically sees a 20% rise in car park fender benders, with Newtown, Rosny, Devonport and Launceston the accident hotspots.
Car parks are busy and slow-moving traffic usually, so it's people reversing into each other, it's car doors, shopping trolley accidents, etc.
Windscreen damage also increases by 20% during the holiday season.
The Jack Jumpers will attempt to turn the tables on the horror result from their last meeting with New Zealand when they play the Breakers again on Saturday. But they'll need to do it without star player Milton Doyle, who's flying home to attend his father's funeral.
On fire on Saturday, Milton Doyle was playing through emotional pain. He took to the court just hours after learning his dad had died, also attending a club function the next day. His team-first attitude praised by Scott Roth.
He didn't tell anyone until after the game. He pulled me aside and it was quite emotional. I mean, off the charts for me. I mean, I can't wrap my head around that one.
Obviously, our thoughts are with Mil, and we're a team, you know.
Doyle won't play this week, heading home for the funeral. A final decision on who replaces him in the starting 5 won't be made until game time.
The guys will just man up and next thing, and it's an exciting time for some other guys to get some opportunities or more minutes. And should be fun.
Fresh off thrashing Adelaide, the Jackies won't be taking the struggling Breakers lightly. New Zealand demolished Tasmania last month on a night to forget in Launceston. The manner of the loss still stinging.
For me, it was probably the poorest game from beginning to end that we played. Just a lot of uncharacteristic errors and gambles.
They were aggressive. They got us out of sets.
That humbling, sparking a defensive reset, which helped keep the 36ers to one of their lowest scores in history. However, they're still wary of the power and precision of the Breakers' offense.
We're trying to eliminate our gambles and our mistakes and making sure that our scout is crystal clear.
And don't expect Scott Ross to complain about flying across the ditch.
No fan's going to care where we've come from. And I'm certainly not going to care other than to force our guys to go out there and compete. I've been around the block and I see it a different way.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's best female under-19 cricketers are looking to push some of the bigger states at the impending national championships. The squad flying to Brisbane next week for the event. Having put in months of planning and preparation, they're looking forward to competing against teams stacked with international experience.
I feel like it's a really good opportunity to put my case forward and for all the girls to put their case forward to prove that they're really driving to be at the next level.
Just to play against any sort of opposition where we can test ourselves, you know, is a great opportunity and a good stretch for some of our young players.
Meanwhile, our male under-19 team has finished its national championships campaign, falling 7 runs short against the Northern Territory this afternoon. Madison Brooks' Olympic dreams have been boosted. The Tasmanian scoring selection in the Hockey Roos squad for next season. The 22-player group will take part in the Pro League ahead of the Paris Games in August. Making her national debut earlier this year, Maddie played 17 matches, scoring 2 goals. Josh Belt, Eddie Ockenden and Jack Welch also selected in the men's national team. Kim, hopefully that's a group of locals we'll be able to cheer for next year in Paris.
Yeah, and great news. Thank you very much there, Nick.
Good evening. Hobart, the state's top today with 25, 24 in Launceston, Devonport 21 and Burnie 23 degrees. Bushy Park also sharing the state's top with 25, Friendly Beaches and Grove 23, Smithton 22, Lyweenie and St Helens both 21, 19 the top for the islands, Maria Island and Strawn. Small patches of low cloud particularly are seen about the southwest with bands of high cloud crossing the south during the day. Thunderstorms continue across the NT, central and southern parts of WA, northern New South Wales, southeastern SA, with isolated storms over Victoria and southern New South Wales. Tomorrow, heat lows continue over the interior of WA, with an associated trough over New South Wales and the top end. Northeast to northwesterly winds 10 to 20 knots, reaching 30 knots in the southwest. The Bureau have issued a strong wind warning tomorrow between east of Flinders Island to Wineglass Bay, and also for the southwest coast. Forecast for Friday, Hobart, a shower or two likely to develop, 25. Showers also expected in Huonville, 27. Similar in Campania, 29's the top. Showers extending also to the north tomorrow, Launceston 28, Devonport 23, 26 for Georgetown. A shower or two for western parts, 20 for both Burnie and Strawn, 22 in Wynyard. More wet weather in store for St Helens and Swansea, both 28. Showery conditions also for Port Arthur, 24 is the maximum. Saturday, showers statewide, contracting to the northeast in the evening. Sunday, light showers about the north, fine elsewhere. Monday, fine conditions with light winds and an afternoon sea breeze is expected. Taking a look further north now, mostly sunny in Sydney, 30 degrees. A degree warmer in Brisbane, 31. Showers and a possible storm is likely for Melbourne, 34. And much the same in Adelaide, 36 degrees. Currently in Hobart, it is mostly sunny, 20 degrees, much the same in Launceston, 20, and in Devonport, 18. Bit of wet weather ahead for the weekend, Kim.
Sounds like it. Not good if you're having a Christmas barbecue. Thank you very much, Kaya. That is all we have time for tonight. Thanks for your company. Good night.